Here we are. It's Whisky Unscripted, episode 5. I can't believe it. It's season 4. And my partner in crime, my compatriots, I'm not getting the same dialing code. I'm in Gordon Dundas. Where are you?
Were they
Mr. Dallas. Well, I have made it abroad. Yes, I have made it to another country. I know you're going at the weekend as well. I am in Germany at the moment. I'm actually in a Mercedes A-Class with Geert Benedictus, who's in charge of our market in Germany. Hi, Geert.
Hello.
There we are. And we're driving between Hamburg, where we did a lovely event last night for Tamdhu, down to just south of Hanover to do another event. And we've got a very important passenger in the back, strapped in. We have a 50-year-old baby. We have a Glengoyne 50 in the back.
Oh, now I have seen your Instagram posts about that, and it's genuine. Go to Gordon Dundas' Instagram and you'll see it. Is that not correct?
Absolutely right, yeah. It's the first time I think you've seen anybody strapped in like a baby that's 50 years old. So, yeah, it's we just want to be very careful because it's a very precious cargo.
And can I just say, we don't like to advertise or plug anything on Whisky Unscripted. We're impartial. But if you're in a Mercedes-Benz, how insulated is that? I can hardly hear the car. That is
I am on headphones, to be fair.
But still, I've been in some cars, Gordon, you'd be screaming at the top of your voice to be heard.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, no, all good. So so Geert's been driving fabulously. And of course, in Geert just leant over to me just before we got going properly, and he said, "You don't mind me driving fast, do you?" And of course, on the Autobahns here, there are no speed limits, so we've been up over 200 kilometers an hour already. So it's been good. The kilometer left figure has been dropping very quickly. So,
well, Gordon, that is this. This is the Out and About show. We started this way back late March, early April of 2020. The Whisky Unscripted, just because we couldn't get out there, we thought, well, a podcast can travel past barriers and travel past borders, and finally, we're doing the same ourselves, which is wonderful.
Exactly. Oh, absolutely. And I think, we touched on shows in the last edition and some of the good stories behind the shows, but it's not just shows. It's just great to get out and see people that love whiskey, love our whiskies, and are excited to see you and want to talk to you and want to learn and understand. And that's what's really, really, Teams is great. And Zoom's been amazing. If you think about it, 2 years ago, we'd never heard of Zoom or Teams. And now they're integral parts of how we do business. But from a whiskey perspective, that's what they are. They're a part of what we could do. They're not the solution. And nothing will beat getting out there, which is why I believe you're off to Amsterdam.
That's right. Oh, that's great. On the recording, that sounds very weird, but you are in a moving car travelling very fast, so the signal just broke up. I'm going to Amsterdam
what's
at the weekend.
Going on there?
Yes, it's the Art of Drink. Oh, right. So this is the premiere and the first event of its type organised by Benromach, our distribution company, and they're putting together a vast selection of drinks in Westgazenplatz or something, somewhere in Amsterdam I've never been to. So it's going to be a great event. But before that, I've got to go to Birmingham to do the history of whiskey, which I may do a little bit on future podcasts. But Gordon, yes, before we talk about all that, just a quick word about last Wednesday, October the 20th, we recreated, speaking of history, we recreated the Great Smuggler's Walk from Glengoyne into the centre of Glasgow. And this was the walk we feel that the smugglers, and especially the lady smugglers, would have taken in the late 18th, early 19th century. And you joined us for a part of the way. It was a great piece of history coming to life.
You did very well. Yeah, I couldn't make it, unfortunately, for the whole time, but I joined you about halfway through on the bike. The Smuggler's Walk was a fabulous triumph, so well done to you and the small group that did it. It was brilliant, so well done.
Wonderful. It was wonderful, really, to raise money for a local wildlife charity, the Strathbane Wildlife Sanctuary, but also to raise awareness for the old cooperage. It's a wonderful new facility we've got at Glengoyne with a story wall, and all the tours start from the old cooperage. And this was one story, that we brought to life, following the footsteps of the smuggler. So it was great. But Gordon, just while you get your signal organised, can I take you back to last Saturday, October the 24th, I think it was, of 2021, when you're out doing the international circuit. I was delighted to do the national local circuit in Ayr at Robbies Dram Club. And that was one of the first, in fact, it was my first whisky tasting event, I think, this year since lockdown. So I took along the recorder and I got some fabulous contributions. Yep. Fabulous. So look out for Glenfarclas, Tomatin, Benromach, Mackmyra, Lindores, Angus Dundee distillers, organisers, and some members of the public. This is what happened when I was out and about at Robbies Dram Club in Ayr for the Whisky Festival, Whisky and A That. Take it away.
On the Whisky Trail. So I've just got a quick time before it all starts off at 1 o'clock, and there's a very familiar whisky behind me here. This looks lovely. Hello, sir. What's your name?
My name's Peter Donnelly. I'm the brand director for Glenfarclas in the UK.
That's just absolutely lovely stuff. Tell us a little bit about the whisky on show here.
What we've got today, we've got the whole core range, Glenfarclas in the UK. So we've got 10, we've got 12, we've got 15, 25, 105 and top of the tree at 30. But today we've also, because Robin's been such a great customer, we've actually got some 185th anniversary bottling on show.
What's this?
So Glenfarclas was 185 years legal this year. So we've put together a lovely batting of various decades of whisky for consumers, customers to try. And Robin has been a long supporter of Glenfarclas at Robbies Drams, so we thought we'd let some of the people try it.
Now, we've talked earlier on, and I think a lot of us are busy, but you've got one or two wonderful expressions to come out before the end of the year.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to say anything? What can Glenfarclas reveal?
Yeah, I mean, the last quarter is really going to be exceptionally busy for everyone in the industry. But we are about to launch a limited edition Glenfarclas 25-year-old in a beautiful crystal decanter. We were partners at Glencairn Crystal, so we'll bottle it at cast strength as well. So natural colour and just a little bit different presentation for Glenfarclas. So taking it to a slightly different level. UK-based project, and it's only 600 available. So we expect it will go extremely well.
And it has been going pretty well, I think, isn't it?
It has.
Under these difficult circumstances, I think the industry has done remarkably well. Would you do the same?
Definitely. I mean, it's been a record year for Glenfarclas. I mean, I've been working in the industry 25 years this year, working with E. McLeod Distillers previously, which was fantastic, the team there. But I've never known a year like it. You know, last year was record year. It's overtaken already with a couple of months to go.
And in your quarter of a century in the industry, just paint a picture of what it's like doing these shows.
This is the fun part for me. I mean, I sit behind a desk too much now. We were at the Whisky Exchange show a couple of weeks ago, seeing old friends, old consumers. It's great fun. It really is great fun. And this makes it for me, these kind of shows. It really does.
And have you had lunch?
We haven't had lunch yet.
Oh, see, this is important.
You know, this is the key thing, and we're not doing liquid lunch. It's the car's parked firmly outside and straight back home. So it's this is my local show. You know, I've done it since the very start, and I'm back home to Troon straight afterwards. So it's wonderful to meet all the friends and colleagues in the industry.
It's looking absolutely fabulous. I have to say thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy the show.
Thank you.
I'm just walking down the Ayr Town Hall, of course, as I've mentioned, and a friend of the show has just popped up. Your name, sir?
Scott.
Yes, I got it wrong earlier on, didn't I? Yeah. Scott of Tomatin.
Yes.
How are you doing?
Very, very good. Good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you. How's it been, Scott? How's the last few months been?
The last few months have just been building up to coming back to shows and stuff. You know, it's been a very, very busy year. Still doing a lot of virtual things as well, but I'm delighted to be back out and about.
Yeah. I think every show I've ever been to, you're there.
Seems no matter where it is. Yeah.
Whether it's abroad, on a lake in Switzerland, or a church in Edinburgh, or you are in a town hall in Ayr. You seem to be always here.
This is as exotic as it gets for me this year as well. So
no travelling abroad.
West coast of Scotland. What's better than that?
Before we talk about the whiskies, what is it about these shows you like? Obviously, you volunteer and keep on wanting to do them.
Yeah,
Can you explain what vibe is?
It's a little bit of everything, isn't it? It's a hard thing to pin. I think my favourite thing is when you pour someone the dram that they've never tried before and the eyes light up, and you realise that, you know, everything that we do back at the distillery, that's what it's for. But there's just a conviviality about it all, isn't there? There's just people getting together with a love of whiskey, all different backgrounds, all different people, and loving all different styles of whiskey. And then you've got pals from other distilleries at the next table and things. So what's not to love?
I know. What I like about it though as well is there's quite a lot of trouble happening out there in the world.
Yeah.
Some terrible things happening, but just for the next, 5 or 6 hours now, all we're going to be talking about is what's in a glass and what it feels like, and just that you see the nicer side of humanity.
It's the nicer side of humanity. It's whiskey enthusiasm at its best. You know, we're going to have very few kind of casual whiskey drinkers here. It's people that love whiskey. But it's the best of it. It's the conversation. There's no pretense around it. There's no this is better than that, or that's a bad practice or anything. People are just here for a love of what we get to pour them.
And speaking of which, give us a quick rundown of your table.
Well, it's a massive table today, isn't it?
It's a podcast here.
So
we've
we've
done
got
more than us, put it that way.
Yeah, so we've got the Tomatin core range with us, so Legacy 12, cask strength 14, 18. Then we've got our French collection, which is our limited edition for this year, so 3 different sweet wine casks and a cognac cask. At the far end we've got the Antiquary 15-year-old, a limited edition blend, which is in Bordeaux wine casks. Then we've got Tomatin Decades 2, just a multi-vintage Vatine, so whiskey in there from the 70s, 80s, 90s, 1000s and 10s. And then we've got a little bit of Kubokken at the end there, which is our lightly peated whiskey.
Right, okay. Yeah. What do you think is going to be a big hit today?
It's always hard to say. 14-year-old is always massively popular. But I think the French collection is going to go down a storm. And then Decades is 2 tickets, so it's asking people a little bit more, but it's, for me, one of the best whiskies in the world right now.
And before we go, since you've been on the podcast, since you were on Whisky Unscripted, was there not an award, an accolade?
There was
an accolade.
Yeah.
Just explain what it was, because I don't want to do you a disservice by getting the title wrong.
I'm not entirely sure what the title is myself now. It was something along the lines of Scotch Whisky Brand Ambassador of the Year, Scotland category. So it was an amazing thing. I got that purely for showing up on your podcast. It just goes to show how much money Ian McLeod are putting into the industry.
That's great. Look out for my award next year. No, listen, thanks so much, Scott. Have a nice festival, and we'll see you soon.
Perfect. Cheers.
I've just walked in to the second room and I've spied, this is what's great about a whisky show, I've spied one of my a very soft spot for this particular whisky. So could you explain who you are and what the whisky is?
Well, my name is Kevin Cairns. I'm an area executive with Gordon MacPhail, which has in its portfolio ownership of the distillery Benromach from Forres. In 2020 we had a sort of label change, and we sort of reduced the portfolio just a little bit. We still do a core range, which is 10, 15, but we also have in addition to the core range is the 21 also, but we also have the contrast with the organic peat smoke, and we have the cask strength, which is now we release in batches, so every release will denote a new batch on the label.
And what's this batch? What's the strength?
This is batch 4 at 57.2. Our next batch will be vintage 2010. It'll be batch 5, and it'll be 58.6, I think.
And what's likely to go?
21 because it's new. We had a new release of it in November 2020, so just about a year ago. But the goods which people head for every time we do a show with Benromach is the 15-year-old, which is double gold medal winner in San Francisco show. It was the Whisky Exchange's Whisky of the Year last year. So from that we built a good base for it.
And just a wee bit of word, just a hint, how would you describe the level of smokiness in there?
It's a puff of smoke. It's
which is lovely. This is just how I like it.
It's only 11 ppm, parts per million. Therefore, and it's not a coastal peat smoke. It's a Speyside, so it's more floral, more vegetal style rather than the heavy, oily, briny style. So it's only to give another foundation to the layers of bourbon and sherry casks that we envelop it in.
And finally, how are you looking forward to today?
Oh, I love it. My first week in the job in 2015 with Gordon MacPhail was at Robbies Drams, so it'll always be. Yeah, it'll always be part of my history with Gordon MacPhail and Robbies Drams. So they're associated.
Well, let's have a good show.
Thanks very much.
Cheers. And it's again, what's great about these whisky shows, you come across something, and we have talked about this whisky previously on the podcast, but I'll just let you do the honours. Your name, sir, and what's the whisky we're looking at?
Of course, Mickey Plummer, and we're here looking at Mackmyra Swedish single malt whisky. Yes, you heard it correctly, single malt whisky from Sweden. It's not a bad word, so please don't spit out your drams as you're listening. Also, just a quick plug, there's another great whisky podcast out there called the Quake Podcast.
We love other podcasts.
Yeah.
Get in there. Mackmyra. Give us a wee conversation.
Translates as a midgie bog. Mac being the midgie and Myra being Maya or bog. It's actually a place in Sweden, so just about an hour and a half drive north, slightly east from Stockholm, to give you a bit of a geographical reference. And today on the stand we have our core range, we have our seasons range, which is probably what's made us be as successful as we are, and we've got our moments range as well. So our core range is literally that. It's what we're going to keep churning out per se. Our seasons range, we bring out 2 a year, spring, summer and autumn, winter. And that's all about the cask finish, because in Sweden we don't have an organisation like the Scotch Whisky Association that put handcuffs on us. So we're quite open with playing around with different cask finishing. It's all minimum of 3 years old, as you'd expect. It's all oak aged, it's all oak maturation. So it's that those words that you like hearing. Majority is non-chill filtered, uncolour corrected. So yeah, it's all those ticks and boxes that whiskey lovers.
What's the finish?
So the seasonal, we have a port cask from So that our port casks come from one of the oldest quintas in the Douro Valley, and we also have our new seasonal with us as well, which is called Gran Ruk or Star Smoke. That's using some of our peated and extra peated recipe. A quick thing about our peated recipe as well, it's really quite unusual, as we use juniper twigs on top of our Swedish peat to give a really earthy, resinous sort of smoke as well, which is really, really good. And so we have our moments range with us as well. And our moments range is all about cask maturation as opposed to the cask finish.
That's fantastic. And that's a great range I've got here just now. How many have you got?
We have 6 whiskies and 1 gin. On the table with us today. Our gin and our tonic is 100% organic as well, it's EKO certified. So that's always a nice big tick in the box that people like to hear as well.
And do you think you're the only, is there many non-Scotch whiskies present here?
So we have in the next room, Tomatin and Glengoyne from Paul John.
Of course.
Yep, so that's it.
That's it.
That is it. So in the world whiskey category, there's 2 of us here today at Whiskey and All That, which is nice. So it does give people a good variety, through tasting their drams for the day.
Absolutely wonderful whiskey. Mickey, thank you very much.
Cheers, Gordon. Appreciate it.
Enjoy the afternoon. We've got about 15 minutes before it all starts and kicks off. So I'm looking at a very famous distillery from the past, reborn, but explain who you are and what the distillery is.
So my name's Murray Stevenson. I work with Lindores Abbey Distillery, and like you say, we have some fantastic heritage. So we're not an old distillery that's sort of come back into work. We're built and situated on the site of Lindores Abbey itself in Newborough and Fife, and Lindores Abbey holding the site of the earliest written reference to whisky production.
I can see it.
Yeah.
The famous 1494.
So that 1494 reference from King James IV commissioning Friar John Corr of Lindores Abbey to convert 8 balls of malt wherewith to make aqua vitae for the king is that kind of like sort of story that now the whole industry has, is that line in the sand.
You've got that great story. Yeah, you've got the wonderful, unique position to say the starting point for modern whisky.
Absolutely, yes.
It came from Lindores Abbey.
For sure, yeah. So we never say that we invented whisky in any means. We're just so very fortunate to be on the site of what's the earliest written reference from that tax record. As unromantic as it is, it's that tax record that is that sort of earlier start.
I love it, absolutely love it. Can't wait to go and see Lindores Abbey. Just tell us very briefly, we've got 14 minutes to go.
Yep.
How's it been the last few years?
Absolutely.
We've been going for new make is now with whisky.
That's it, absolutely fantastic. We have just launched our first single malt whisky in July there, and it's been so very, very, very warmly received from both the industry and from the public as well, which has been fantastic. So it's been great being able to kind of see that transition from our new make spirit, which we were very fortunate last year to be awarded as the best new make in Scotland from the World Whisky Awards.
Is there some here?
That's it there, yeah,
lovely.
absolutely. So it's just very, very fruit forward, very light and very juicy. It's a long fermentations of 119 hours and quite a unique sort of system through our twin sister spirit stills, giving you that really nice light and creamy whisky. So just something nice and juicy and very drinkable, very easy, too easy.
Yeah, so look out for it in all good major retailers. And is the distillery open for business?
It is, yes. So we're open every day of the week at the minute for tours. So we're, like everybody during sort of pandemic times, we were hit pretty hard with those kind of things, but we're open again, welcoming people from all over the world to come back and visit the distillery, and it's great to see people coming back in, and they can now come to the spiritual home of Scotch whisky and drink whisky.
It's a great whisky, it's a great story, and yeah, we're going to have a great show.
Spot on, look forward to it.
What your pie? We got half-time pie here.
Absolutely.
Are you vegetarian or meat?
I do we sort of Monday to Friday vegan scenario, but it's the weekend, so yeah, I'll have a meat pie.
Same here. These are the important things at whisky festivals.
Absolutely.
People need to know about this.
Absolutely.
Whiskey's important, isn't it? But the meat pie is even more important.
You've got to have your sustenance, that's
you
for
do.
sure.
You do. Have you had your lunch?
I have, I've just had a wee bite there.
Do you not think sometimes, I'm going to explain who you are in a second, we've got about 30 minutes to go. At these whisky festivals, it's how they treat the staff and how they treat the people with the whisky. It really sets some apart from others, isn't it?
Sure, I mean it's a great environment here, and everyone obviously is very happy to be here after so long not doing festivals. This is personally my first whisky festival since before lockdown, so I'm really, really excited just to be back.
That's right, and we've had our lunch, had coffees, and they're going to get us pies at half time, so I'm totally happy. But who are you? What's your stall?
Yeah, so I'm Sebastian, and I'm from the Glasgow Distillery, and we're here today with our Glasgow 1770 single malt whisky. We also have our Malt Riot, which is our blended malt whisky, and a few of our Mackmyra gins.
Oh, they're doing very well, aren't they, the Mackmyra gins?
Absolutely, yeah. Mackmyra's it's our oldest product, and it's a firm favourite, that's for sure.
Great. Listen, I'd love to speak more, but everything going okay with the Glasgow Distillery? It's all
brilliant. Good. Super busy. Couldn't be happier.
Great, and the world's opening up again now, so we'll see you at more festivals, Sebastian. Thank you very much for your time and enjoy the show.
Thank you.
Did you get one? I want to do a before and after. Robin, we've got 10 minutes to go before it all begins. This is the organiser. You just explain what's happening, and I wanted to get you under extreme pressure.
As always, Gordon, Gordon, this is us now opening up at 1 o'clock. We've got roughly 100 people arriving at the moment. These are people that come in early. There's various reasons why they come in an hour earlier than everybody else. The rest of the public are coming in at 2 o'clock, and we're looking to invite them down to love Ayr and enjoy the whisky that you guys are happily pouring today. So
It's a great idea. Yeah, it gets a nice easy zin to the whole day. I've just been speaking to some of the guys here, some of the ones that are bringing the whisky, and we're so appreciative of the food, of the coffee, of the half-time pies. We love it. Listen, Robin, how long have you been going?
Right, so this is our 17th festival. Obviously, if it hadn't been for restrictions last year, this would be festival number 18. But what we're loving is welcoming the public back to Ayr after 28 months without a festival. So this is the real thing that's getting my juices flowing today, because we see the people that come through this hall. There's going to be circa 400 people today, so we're down about 250. We did that on purpose because we've reduced the numbers for the obvious reasons. But these people are family and friends to us, and we want to welcome them back into Ayr, welcome them back into whisky world as such, Gordon.
And finally, and I want to try and catch you at the end to see how it's all gone, give us a before and after. How important is festival? We've done Zoom, and I did Zoom for you as well.
Right.
But this is live. How important is this?
Absolutely, Gordon. It's very important because, as you see, we've got our own private whisky club, and we have 100 people meet with us every 6 weeks. the festival to me is a crescendo of that. So we do 6 of them a year, and we do the festival, and it always started off as about 200 people, and it's grown arms and wings. And I see, going into what was our 18th year, it's very good, and it represents all the whiskies. We're grateful for all the companies that come along and represent themselves on the day. But to me, it's very important for the whisky world to have days like this.
And I said that as the final one, but the final one, what's your main job in the next 5-6 hours?
I'm chief cook bottle washer. I might get and wash the car if I've got nothing else to do, Gordon. So.
I doubt that. Right, have had a good show. Listen, we've got, look at now, I've just been speaking to Robbie there. We've got about 6 or 7 minutes. So this might be the last interview before
I'm honoured.
we start. So it's, you're the finale, so you better be good. So it is a podcast, so we can't see what it is, but can't see you either.
Yeah.
What's your name and what lovely whiskies are you representing today?
Yeah, so I'm Ian Forsyth from Angus Dundee Distillers, and I have the lovely role of being Master Blender and Global Brand Ambassador for the company. I'm joined by Cody, who's our Brand Ambassador
Cody,
as well.
how you doing?
And yeah, we do Tomintoul and Glencairn single malts, as well as Laramar rum and Old Ballantrae heavily peated space.
Lovely jubbly. That's it looks a wonderful stall. Again, you've got a lot of whiskies here. Could you just take us through a couple of your what you think might be one of the
So we kind of brought everything but the kitchen sink. But no, we've got a few new drams for the show as well, which is quite nice. So literally our Tomintoul 16-year-old Sauterne finish was released yesterday.
Oh, yes. Oh,
so that's a brand new product to show. Tomintoul cigar malt is quite new on the scene as well. It's doing really well. We've got our Glencairn Reserva Andalusia, which is a kind of entry-level sherry finish. Glencairn is doing really well for us as well. It's quite a new product. And a bit of everything, and some rum if you fancy trying some rum too.
Oh, some rum as well. And the colours in these whiskies are quite extraordinary.
Cheers.
That is amazing. So how's the year been for yourselves? We've all had difficult last 18 months with the obvious, but how's it all been?
It's actually, so in terms of sale and demand, things have been going really well. We've actually run out of stock. We've got a few lines. Just I think people's shift in drinking patterns has kind of meant that more people are drinking whiskies at home, maybe treating themselves to something a bit more special as well. So no, generally it's going pretty well. Growth is pretty good, but it's nice to be back out in the real world and tasting whiskey with people as well.
And it's you're quite, I suppose, I don't know everyone here, but unique in being a master blender. A lot of us
Indeed.
are ambassadors or reps, salespeople and all that, but you're out here, you're actually in, where is head office, where you blending?
So yes, I'm based out of our head office and bottling plant in Glasgow, Coatbridge, but I'm also up at the distilleries as well, so yeah, here, there and everywhere. The title is quite a new one. I was made Master Blender in January, but I've been a brand ambassador for Angus Dundee for 6 years, so it's always been a bit of a kind of passion project that I've had a part in, and they've given me more of an official role in it recently.
So
as well,
any of these your
yeah, quite
creations?
a few of these are whiskies that I've made myself.
Right.
Well, not myself, with our team, but it's there's some exciting products. So I'm looking forward to showing off what I can do, I suppose.
And finally, just a quick word about live. A quick word about being here.
It's fantastic. Great to be able to share drams, see people's faces, and see what people think, and share opinions and tasting notes and these things on whiskey. Whiskey's made for sharing.
It's amazing. It's great to see all the different releases with all the fancy marketing and advertising that you cannot beat face to face live.
Yeah.
It's been like this for
100%.
generations, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, nobody really drinks a bottle of whiskey on their own. And I think that sharing drams is what's so special and unique about this industry. It's nice to be able to do that again.
We'll get 5 minutes.
Super.
So enjoy the sharing.
Yeah, thanks.
Bye bye. Here we go. Very quickly, this is the Ian McLeod's Whisky Unscripted podcast. We've interviewed quite a lot of the producers here. We spoke to Robin. We speak to him afterwards, the organiser. But I just wanted to hear what's happening out there on the floor. Sir, what's your name? And give us a wee bit of an insider's guide to what's happening and what you've been drinking.
Henry.
And
I'm really glad this place is open again after 2 years. And I haven't been disappointed at any of the displays I've gone down. But, it's been good to get back.
Any highlights so far? What's your name, sir?
I'm Douglas. I would say the highlight was obviously the 18-year-old Glengoyne.
Yep.
Other than that, the Glenallachie 15-year-olds.
Nice.
Really glad it's here. Also, really glad that it's not as busy as it has been in previous years. It's not as warm and not as busy. Really good event though.
I have to say, with an hour to go, you guys are looking remarkably fresh. With that
67, but I'm all right.
Chats, what's your name?
Robbie.
Robbie, any highlights tonight?
Great day. We've been coming for a number of years. Been counting down the weeks to get back this time. Loved it. Great day.
It's been tough, isn't it, without these whisky shows?
But
How much do you enjoy them? How important are they?
Well, I realise hard work doing this, somebody's got to do it. But I've been drinking the Tamdhu 15-year-old, beautiful. I've never tasted it before, I've tasted the 12-year-old, Tamdhu, lovely. That's my highlight of this week.
highlight all that. Very nice.
Aye, the whole week.
And I did not say that to you.
The whole week.
Whole week. Oh, lovely.
Should be mentioned, the pies are fantastic.
The pies are absolutely fantastic. Listen, food that's how we survive, doing these things. And we've got a lady in our midst as well. So, what's your name and any highlights?
Heather. I'm Heather. This stand has been the best chat on the circuit. It has. The stories, the wee antidotes, everything has been worth listening to.
Oh, lovely.
Yes.
Round a few, what's the other highlights, apart from my patter?
Well, the Juryman did have marshmallows and a blowtorch.
Lovely. It's mental note, Gordon. Marshmallows and blowtorch. Great. You have enjoyed the day?
I've enjoyed every minute of it, yes. And I've enjoyed listening to all the wee stories, all the wee antidotes. Lovely.
Now, you had a husband.
I have. He's a wee bit shy. He's wanting a smokehead, but he doesn't like to be on camera or thingy-me-bobber, so he is hiding in the background.
At least you've still got a husband there. I thought
yes.
maybe you had
yes.
Right, okay, good.
Yes. And he really likes your smokehead.
Oh, fantastic. Well, let's go get my glass.
I will go get it back. Yes.
Right. My goodness, what time is it now? It's 6:20. I'm here with the organiser of Whisky and All That. It's Robin. Robin, how are you doing?
Do you know, feeling fantastic, Gordon. It's been a great day. It's just wonderful to welcome everybody back into this social activity that we've all missed for 28 months since our last festival.
I think that's exactly it, Robin. At the stall today, that's what people were saying, how great it is to get back. Zoom is good, Zoom is fine,
yes,
but how good it was to get back. So there must have been a lot of planning went into this.
Well, 6 months normally and 6 weeks we did it in. So, I mean, a big thank you to South Ayrshire Council who allowed us to use this wonderful Ayr Town Hall, to the licensing board in South Ayrshire, to basically my own staff, to all of you guys from the companies, and mostly to the public for supporting us again.
Just a little bit of word. We've got a lot of international listeners on the podcast. So just quickly explain about your business. It's right next. It's now town stores next door.
Indeed, it is, Gordon. So we've been a business here since 1984, and I know I don't look as if I've been here since 1984. Sometimes I feel as if I have. But so we've got a great heritage. We're a family business. My wife Anna runs the business with myself. My daughter's part of it, even though she's a student. My son used to be part of it, and we go from strength to strength, because basically what we want to do is we want to satisfy the public for everything they want and every whisky need, because at the end of the day we've got a passion that I hope comes through, and we've been passionate for years, Gordon.
So you've got a whisky shop here, and I did a masterclass here in the town hall. You're right next to the town hall. Fantastic facility. So you've got a big club.
Indeed, Gordon. So you actually did the last physical tasting that the Robbies Dram Whisky Club ever had, which was February 2020. So Gordon was to blame after that type of thing. So we went down. So yes, but that's all. We have had Zoom meetings and such like, but the physical meetings are about to start any time soon. So, but just wonderful to be back, Gordon.
It's actually brilliant. As you say, on behalf of Ian McLeod, as well as, and I know I'm speaking for all the producers here that were giving out the whisky, that wonderful day. I think it went down fantastically well with the public. Really, and I think we had to lower the numbers you were saying because of the restrictions, but there were some great chats that I had. Very knowledgeable people you've got here.
Absolutely, Gordon. It's made me maybe analyse things that maybe in the future we might change the format of the festival. We always traditionally do the first Saturday in June, which is Saturday 4th of June next year, but I may change the dynamics slightly because the numbers today were good. The people that attended, their behaviour was fabulous. They seemed to be real whisky enthusiasts, and it makes us proud actually to be in the whisky industry again. Quite humble actually, Gordon, in all honesty, quite humble to see that people were so happy to be out and mixing, rubbing shoulders with us again. So just delighted. Delighted.
I can't see, I couldn't top that, Robin. Absolutely wonderful. In regards to the staff and I know your family, so thank you very much and enjoy the evening.
No, thank you, Gordon, for attending as always. Thank you, McLeod.
And just a postscript to this interview, nice pies. This is a wee bit extra. This is not going to be up here in the podcast, but
local pies.
Brilliant. Great to hear from everybody, and just great to hear all the brands, hear from all the people in the brands here, that everybody's in one room having a great time, and really, really good to hear from Scott and Ian and those types of guys. So yeah, fabulous, and well done in capturing them for some bit of content on this fabulous podcast. So yeah, well done. That's a well-established show, that one in here with Robbies Drams, and they do it well. So full marks, and I'm going to just been speaking with Geert. We're going to be back over in Germany for one of the biggest shows here, Inter Whiskey, which is at the end of November, pretty much. And I'm also going to be in Holland for the big show in Holland in November.
Gordon, you teased at the beginning of the show last night. Could you talk a little bit through why they let you back into Germany? That's a joke. But B, just what happens? What went on last night, and what's the sort of format?
Well, really, last night we were just doing a bit of we've moved our distributor for Tamdhu, so we've got not a new distributor. We're now aligned with the same distributor as Glengoyne. So it's Borco, and we were just doing a launch event to the local great and the good, I guess, for the sort of phrase for some of the whiskey people, the whiskey folk of Hamburg. So we did a lovely event with oysters and steak tartare and Tamdhu 12 and Tamdhu 15, and it was a tough one, Gordon, as you can imagine. So we did that last night, which went really, really well. And now, why are we driving on a motorway with a 50-year-old Glengoyne in our back seat? Where we're going to go and see. We're going to go and open this bottle with a winner. When we launched the 50-year-old, we said to our fans, our friends, and everybody, why don't you tell us why you would want to share a 50-year-old whiskey with your friends? And I'm going to go and open it with these gentlemen who won that prize in just south of Hanover this evening. So we're going to be doing that this evening. So we're going to be pouring 50-year-old whiskey. So it's getting tougher as the week goes on, Gordon.
My goodness. And if we had to buy one, since we're not competition winners, if we had to buy one, are they available, and how much would it set?
They are available. They're available in the I don't think they're available in the outside of the Distillery Visitor Centre, but they are available. And it's a mere £22,500.
What a prize that is. So that's part of the story of what we do as well, is connecting with people, whether it's through competitions or through these events last night. You want to get people, and with Ayr as well, that we've heard, is connecting with people.
Oh, absolutely. And as I was saying to somebody last night, he said, he was talking about whiskey, and he says, I live in a world now that the job that I do daytime is now on Zoom. I can do it from anywhere. I could live in deepest, darkest, the Outer Hebrides of Scotland or whatever, because I live on a computer, as long as I've got a decent internet connection. And I was explaining to him that that's not going to be whiskey. It never will be, because what we've just spoken about and what the guys are speaking about and what we're doing tonight is stuff you can't do on Zoom. You have to be there in person. You're sharing an experience. You're sharing a moment, and these are the kind of things that are just priceless for whiskey fans, and that's why we will continue to do these types of events.
Gordon, finally, before we go, this is the week before the big climate conference in Glasgow. I'm sitting in Glasgow. Half the city has closed down. It's COP26. Does this concern whiskey as much as others?
Well, we are a small fish in a big pond of problems, if you like it. I think Glengoyne has released a report towards the end of last week, just highlighting some of the major issues that could affect the Scotch whisky industry in the next 30 to 50 years. Ranging from droughts, which I know sounds a bit silly in Scotland, but I mean, you hear more and more of distilleries running out of water. So, it is, and we've had a pretty dry summer, if you think about it. Gordon, you and I were at Glengoyne in July and August. There was barely a trickle of water coming down the waterfall, wasn't there?
That's absolutely right. And I think Robbie's mentioned in the last 10 years, there's been more days like that than ever it has been in the past.
So, these are things we need to be hugely aware of. And so we released a really big report that we did with UCL, University College London, really just highlighting, some of the sustainability initiatives that we've done, of course, but also we're on a small journey. We're a small fish here, but we need, as an industry, but we've got a lot more that we need to do in the coming months and years, because, it's clearly a big issue. And I hope that these guys at COP26, guys and ladies, actually come up with some solid plans, because it's more and more concerning. And, whether that's your car, your bottle of whiskey, your heating for your house, whatever it may be, we need to really start to do something.
And can I just say, you're absolutely correct, Gordon, and can I just say that you're better being inside a car, a Mercedes-Benz on an Autobahn in Germany, than you are anywhere near the city centre of Glasgow. And that's personal experience from my wife and some of the friends. It's pretty bad out there with the road closures. Gordon, before we go, a last update. Where are you? What's happening? Progress, please.
Just on our way to Hildesheim. So we're only about 5 miles away, 4 kilometres away from Hildesheim. So, and we're going to be catching up with our sort of team that's going to be filming this. We're going to have a run through of what we're going to do. And then Geert and I are going to drink 50-year-old whiskey all afternoon, aren't we, Geert? Yeah. No, we're not.
Where will it be on?
I think you'll see coverage of this. I'm not sure when it'll be out. I don't think it'll be out immediately just because of timing, but I think you will see the coverage of this happening in the coming weeks and months, I think, on Glengoyne's Facebook page, YouTube channel, etc., etc., etc.
Great. Gordon, I'll let you and Geert head into Hilde.
Quick question, Gordon. What whiskey are you drinking, obviously, today?
I've got a little Kalila to my left-hand side here, a little Kalila.
Nice.
Which is quite nice. You're not driving, so...
I don't have a dram, I'm being honest. I don't have a dram in my hand. I think that would be a little excessive. I think I could tell you what I drank last night. So I had Tamdhu 12, Tamdhu 15, Tamdhu Batch Strength 6, and we finished with a Tamdhu Club single cask, which was just a great lineup with fabulous food. So that my last dram, which was a Tamdhu Club single cask, can be my current dram for the trip that we're on at the moment. But I just wanted to check how's the sauna? Is it all well?
Sauna's going very well, Gordon. I should have just said I had a lovely trip down to Salisbury and to Swindon and Bristol as well. Some great whisky tasting down in the specialist whisky shops down south, and we had some great drams and great fun down there. And just as you were saying, across in Germany, across in all these places, one thing that connects people is just a great love of a dram of whiskey, and long may that continue. So
absolutely. So I will sign off from the Autobahn. We're actually off the Autobahn now. We're down to a mere 97 kilometers an hour. So Geert has driven like an absolute Trojan. So well done, sir. And we're nearly where we need to be. So I need to finish up. But thank you very much.
Oh, brilliant. That is the first real out and about episode we've had in Whisky Unscripted. And please get in touch through our Facebook or Instagram portals, if that's how you explain social media. Gordon Dundas, Geert,
thank you very much.
Cheers, thank you very much. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
On the whiskey trail, posting ahead. On the whiskey trail.